Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. If this is your first time discovering my channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. I hope that you guys will subscribe, like, and comment down below so we can discuss. Tonight's review is about Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's get into it. Child, look here, honey. Quite frankly, we are watching Martel Holt unravel before our very eyes. He is losing his mind. Let's talk about it. All right, so when the episode first opens up, we see Uncle Dex and Martel go to look for suits, okay? Because Martel was busting out of that last suit he had on in that confessional because he's gained some COVID weight. Plus the stress of being a cheater will always do that to you, okay? And I mean, he still looks good. I'm not going to say he don't look good, but at the same time, honey, you're ugly if you don't act right, honey. So on the inside, you're ugly. So to me, on the outside, you're ugly. They go look for suits, and then they talk about the mess. But before that, Martel says that Uncle Dex was like a father figure to him. Uncle Dex, let me speak directly to you, honey. You failed him, okay? You failed him because Martel is a mess of a man. They start talking about family and how the kids are adjusting. And then Martel says the kids are being exposed to too much. And I'm like, y'all didn't think about that before y'all were getting on the internet acting a fool? Every time I turn around, it's an interview with either you, her, the mistress, the Instagram this, the pregnancy that. You doing all kinds of lives, honey. You'll go and do an interview with any old body. Honey, I probably could get you on my show. What you doing Tuesday? I mean, like, what is wrong with you? You don't think your kids are ever going to grow up and see this stuff all over the internet that lives, and like, it's never going to go away. So I just want you to know that, honey, YouTube ain't going nowhere. And all these interviews that you are doing, they are never going away. Your kids will always see how the two of you acted this whole thing out in the public eye. Then he says they need to untangle all of their business dealings. See, that's the thing about divorce. That's the one nasty thing about it. If it's not the kids, then it's the property. If it's not the property, then it's the kids. And sometimes it's both. And in this case, it's both. He then tells him about, because of his business ventures and things that he's been in, that he needs to get out of them. And then he starts saying, I know what I did and I acted out. Acted out? Acted out is what toddlers do when they put stuff all over the room, or when they draw on the walls, or when they start having a tantrum in the grocery store because you won't buy those Skittles. That's acting out. What you are doing is cheating, lying, and acting a fool every time we see you. That is not the same as acting out. Oh, okay. All right, let's move on. Letitia, oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Now let's move on. So when we leave from Martel, we see Maurice and Kimberly and Jalen and, her son. He's meeting with Maurice, and they're talking about him decorating his office. And Maurice wants him to know that he can do both. While he's sitting here with this odd job, as he likes to call it, and getting pocket change, he could actually be doing something that could be beneficial to his future. Because Maurice was explaining to him that when he got out of college, he had his overpayment check, and he purchased a property for $1,000. And he was like, you don't even have student loans. Even Barack Obama as president had student loans. And while I'm at it, since Barack had student loans, Barack, why you didn't help none of us out, huh? Okay. If you knew you had student loans, you could have canceled all that. We all could have been free. Don't do that no more. Okay. So they're talking about that. And so Maurice is really getting pretty upset that Jalen is making all these excuses, because Jalen is just like, well, it was easy for you. Well, people can't just walk out and be entrepreneurs. Well, you're not even putting in any effort. He said he wanted to be in real estate. Maurice started asking him, well, what have you done in real estate? Have you invested in any tax lien properties, which are pretty easy to do? I mean, you can go to YouTube University and learn anything you want to learn about tax lien properties, honey. Like, I don't understand why you have access to all these men who are involved in some realm or another when it comes to real estate. You have developers, you have project managers, you have real estate attorneys. There are a lot of avenues for you. So quite frankly, Jalen, you just making excuses, honey, and you look goofy. Child. Oh, okay. Anyway, moving right along. Then we see Martel and he's meeting up with Mel at the office. Okay, so this scene right here, let me tell you something, Mel. I know that we try to be tough as nails. I know we do. And especially when a man has done us wrong, we're like, you know what? I'm not giving you nothing. Okay. And then Martel keeps showing up and getting all of your energy and breaking your peace every time you come in contact with him. This scene right here lets me know that y'all need some mediation. You two do not need to communicate directly with each other. It's upsetting you, and quite frankly, it's upsetting me and my homegirls. Because if you can't go to your job, then where the hell could you go? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, I feel like you and him, y'all need some mediation, because quite frankly, when you two talk to each other, it does nothing. You accomplish absolutely nothing. All right, so in this scene, Martel and her are talking about their business ventures and how they're going to, amicably split them. So then Mel goes, am I able to record you? And so Martel was like, this is Alabama. Go ahead and record me if you want to. So then he's like, before we start, let me just let you know that I want all things to be positive, and I want us to talk only about the business, because I was coming over to your house the other day to talk about the business. Boy, no, you were not. Boy, please. You were coming over there to act a fool, rile her up, get her upset, get a rise out of her like you did. You did not come over there to talk about no business or separating any type of assets. You need to cut that out. You are trying to play Jedi mind tricks with this woman. She was like, oh, you came over to talk about the business? I had no idea. I thought you came over to see the kids. I mean, I came over to do all of that. Boy, oh, Martel, oh my God. I see why she wanted to punch you in the face, my boy. Child, oh, Martel will make you catch a case, honey. He really is. He really will. So then they talked about that. And so supposedly when he ambushed her at the house last episode, he wanted to talk about the assets and the business. Okay. So he agrees that they start going through all of their assets, and some things they agree to split. Then the 47 acres comes up and Mel asks about him, and Martel was like, well, that's at a standstill. No, tell her the truth, that because you are behind it and because you are attached to it, they don't want to have anything to do with it. Just tell her that, because you saying it's at a standstill, she's going to be waiting, and that's just you trying to prolong this divorce. Boy, it's over, okay? But I don't know if it's over now, child, because I mean, Mel now, I saw a little bit of emotion in this scene. So I mean, I don't know if you're fully over it. I mean, I know the hurt will last forever because I've been through that. But at the same time, he can't get a tear from me. Not one tear, because I don't care anything about him. But the fact that he got tears from you, I think when you were in that space with him and then just calling out everything that the two of you have acquired together, it sort of did something to you, girl. I know what you're feeling, honey. I've been through it. So, I mean, you came in acting pretty tough. You came in like, are you ready to get to it? No small talk or nothing. And he was just like, well, how you been? It's strange that me and you are in here and we're not a couple, but you weren't having none of that. You just want to get down to the nitty gritty, say what it was, and get it done. But you broke down halfway through it. And I understand that, because we're only human, and you are at the end of the day a woman. Then, they started talking about everything that they acquired, and he basically said he wanted 50%, because everything that he did financially, all the money that he made and anything that he had, he came and laid it on the table basically and gave it all to Mel for her to figure out what to do with it financially. So then he starts going off about, you used to be a school teacher. And she's like, oh, you used to be a teacher too, and you put your notice in 4 months before I did. And so then they start going on back and forth with this passive aggressive bull crap, having these petty arguments about who was a school teacher. And then Mel's like, you always talk about school teachers like you're putting them down. Now, Mel, look here. I know you're pulling for straws at this point and you're just trying to find anything to say, but I don't normally agree with Martel, honey. Y'all don't come for me in these comments. But he was not saying that school teachers are bad, and he was not putting school teachers down. He was simply saying that before what you guys have now and before what you have acquired, you both were school teachers. That's all he was saying. Now, he's an idiot, but I'm pretty sure he was not putting down school teachers, okay? Then he starts to say that when he was a school teacher, then he put in his notice because he started making 6 figures cutting grass. Then she starts going on about the only client you had was your daddy, and and a pastor and two other people. I'm like, oh my gosh. So Mel asked him about Embrace Beauty, and that's what she threw Tisha out of last season. Well, not last season, but this season before COVID. Remember when Tisha got placed on the outside of the event, as she likes to call it? That is what that was for, Embrace Beauty. So he was just letting her know, I want 15% of that because I helped to build that. And she's like, oh, dissolved. And so, he gets really upset and starts asking her, why would you do that? Because I wouldn't hurt you financially. So I just want you to trust me. She's like, oh, is that what you want? And then she starts to cry. And I'm just like, okay, we need to pause, because if you're going to start crying and getting all wrapped up in emotion, then maybe the two of you need to do this through your attorneys, because it's like y'all are trying to do it on your own, but it's not working. And I don't understand, what is the attorney doing that you met with, Mel? Because you have your own schedule when it comes to the kids. You're trying to split up the assets on your own. I understand that when you have a lot of things done, the divorce goes quicker if you can agree on those things prior to going through mediation and everything you have to go through in order to get divorced. But the two of you are incapable of doing that. So just do it the right way. And y'all know normally I got some jokes, honey, but I just can't even joke because this is a mess. Child, but I got some jokes, honey. Wait till we get to Tisha, honey, because, honey, her and that lisp. Anyway, Martel starts talking about how he came home before the street lights came on. Boy, you were cheating from the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Of course you were at home at 6, honey, running in there to go take a shower, to wipe off that sex sweat. Boy, gone on somewhere. I hate when a man tries to say, well, I was coming home every night. Where else were you going to go? If you didn't want to get caught, of course you were going to come home. And she was like, you were a good cheater. Yes, ma'am. You were a good cheater, Martel. Stop with it already. You sound stupid. Like, that sounds really stupid. So then he starts to say, well, everybody thinks I'm a monster, which I'm not, but Mel cheated on me as well. So then Mel says, well, when I was talking to someone for 4 weeks, Mel, it doesn't matter if it was 4 weeks or 4 days, y'all still was married, even though y'all were separated. And she says she never planned on going back to him. I got to call a spade a spade. And quite frankly, if y'all were separated and living in separate spaces and y'all had not set this boundary, then you talking to somebody else is kind of cheating. I mean, it just is if you're still married. And you said you didn't plan on going back, but knowing Martel, he probably was sitting outside on your doorstep every day you got home from work. So quite frankly, you knew you weren't going to be able to move on, girl. So, I mean, I got to kind of give half the credit to Martel. I don't know, child. I'm so confused, honey. I don't know who I'm with and who I'm against, child. Oh my God. Like, this is just too much. Then after they get through with the office scene, Mel gets up and she leaves because he's starting to get the best of her. In true Martel fashion, he starts following behind her. Martel, stop doing that. You are looking like a crazy person. Like, I'm not even playing. Sometimes when I watch him in these scenes, I actually get nervous and or scared. Like, you are doing too much. Running after her and telling her, no, we have to talk about one last thing about you taking money out of the checking account and putting it in your account. You don't want to talk to her about that, Martel. You just want to antagonize her. Leave that woman alone. When someone walks away from you, let them walk away from you. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, it is, child, oh my God. Like, this right here, it's kind of scary. So now we see Letitia with no mask stop by Destiny's hair store to pick up wash day supplies for her girls. This was the most staged little scene, honey. She just happened to be in there fiddling around with the cash register and you came over to get some supplies for natural hair. Okay, girl. Destiny, cover your baby up. Don't let Tisha and her lisp be talking. Things fly from your mouth. Okay, and she'll spit on your baby accidentally. Like, you need to get that baby and keep that baby at home. You're too free with that newborn baby. I hate to watch your scenes because it makes my nerves bad. Okay, so then Kimmy comes in there and she starts talking about this dang on podcast. I really hope she let this podcast go. So then she's talking to Destiny and she's like, you know what? We should have plans to talk about you coming on my mommy podcast. And we should also talk to Kimmy about it. Then she asked Destiny if her and Kimmy had chatted. And Destiny was like, well, I feel like Kimmy is stuck in the past. I tried to have a conversation with her and she wasn't having it. So Tisha is talking about, well, Kimmy's having an event for her sons and because he graduated during the pandemic. I'm like, Tisha, event is one word. It's one word. It's not two. Event. He's coming to the event. I want to go to the event. I wanted to. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. I hate mispronounced words. I don't like you just keep repeating event. It's one word. Event. Oh my God. See why the people in my comments last week was like, Tisha, get on my nerves and she childish. Girl, what is wrong with you? Then she asked her about Mel. And of course, Tisha, she talking about, and I don't talk to Mel. I don't want to talk to Mel. I'm like, oh, girl. Okay. Well, then forget it. Please don't nobody else ask her about Mel, honey. She want to make Mel the bad guy. Let her be, honey. Oh, my goodness. Then Marceau and Tisha meet up with his Uncle Mike, who is helping them to build the estate for Holt Manor. They're sitting in there looking at blueprints and Tisha talking and complaining, knowing dang on well she ain't gonna get her way because Marceau rules that house, okay? And then all of a sudden, Chris, the real estate broker, shows up and Tisha turns around. What is he doing here? I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so then Marceau goes outside and he talks to him and he lets him know that, the $30 million deal for the multi-unit property they were doing is on the 47 acres and he wants to know if he wants to put a bid in for it. So Marceau was like, well, isn't Martel a part of that? This is why I get all confused, honey. It's 47 acres. They over here with 40 acres and a mule. The Holts are building Holt Manor. The Scotts are building Scott Manor. Kenya building Moore Manor. I don't know what's going on. So quite frankly, everybody get in your respective corners and build what the hell you're going to build on the land that you got. I'm done with it. Okay, let's move on. Child, I don't even know because it's too much stuff being built. All right, now we're here with Maurice and Kimberly, and they're having a celebration for her son's graduation with her business friends. I didn't like how you call them business friends. Are they your friends or not? Because if your business friends had not put you on, you would not be on this show. So I'm just trying to figure out why you're acting like, she was like, I had several different events and I had several different celebrations, but now I'm going to do some for my business friends. Tisha and Marceau are not your business friends. They're your in-laws. Like, girl, shut up, Kimberly. Anyway, so Destiny shows up first, then Tisha and Marceau, then Mel comes in, honey. Mel got the lace bra on, honey, with the little cheetah print jacket, honey. Mel showing out, different wig, okay? Had a bob one scene, curly hair the next. Yes, Mel, girl, you look good, honey. You look like you're looking for something. And quite frankly, we always try to judge it up when we know we're going to see him, honey. You try to look your absolute best, honey. This is what you missed out on, all of this. This could have been you, but you was tripping, okay? So then they sit down and here go Marceau. Mel, you glowing. I'm like, now she glowing. Marceau, shut up. So then Tisha starts talking about this damn podcast again. I'm like, oh my goodness. She asked Kimmy if she'll be a part of it, which I thought this was rude. Okay, don't talk about this podcast if you're not going to invite Mel. So then Destiny says, well, why don't all the mommies get together and do it, in different stages of life? Tisha starts saying, well, every time I try to talk to Mel, it kind of backfires, so I don't think she wants to be involved. And really, Tisha wanted Mel to say something to her and actually engage, but Mel was just sitting there looking, honey, breathing through that sequence mask, paying her dust, honey. She was like, you get nothing from me, okay? And then we go to the confessional, and Mel was like, I'm not interested. I've already did the mommy podcast. And what else is going on, okay? So after they decide to talk about that, then Tisha was like, how you just gonna be inviting people to my podcast? Girl, nobody wants to go listen to that podcast or even be a part of it, to listen to you struggle like vocally. Girl, we're good, honey. You're okay. Nobody's worried about that podcast but you and Miss Wanda. So then after that, we see Miss Wanda show up. The scene stiller. Honey, when Miss Wanda step on the scene, honey, everybody got to take notice. So Kimmy is looking taken aback because she's trying to figure out how on earth did Miss Wanda get invited. So Miss Wanda comes in, she speaks, and then she sits down, and Kimmy's like, oh, I assume that Marceau and Tisha invited you. And so then Miss Wanda was like, well, I had asked them if Kimmy knew. Well, no, Kimmy did not know. I'm like, girl, just be glad she coming to celebrate your son. Girl, stop acting like that. Like, girl. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about Kimberly. I see right through her, honey. I don't trust her at all. Okay. So after that, then they're sitting there and Kimberly does this speech, and she's talking about how, Jalen was such a good son, and then she, lets people know that he's the kind of son that makes you want to have multiple children. I'm like, well, that's really nice. And then Maurice hands him over a Rolex. I'm like, okay, Rolly gang. So he hands him over a Rolex, and then they put on these gowns and they do their little mock graduation, because of course you can't have a real graduation during the pandemic. And after that, all hell breaks loose, because now Martel has shown up. When Martel showed up, I know Mel's whole stomach dropped, honey. I know her heart sank into her feet. I've been there. You just chugging along. You don't think they actually gonna show up, and then all of a sudden they show up. And it just throws you completely off. You're like, oh my God, I cannot believe he showed up. So, Mel decides she's going to get up and leave at this time because now Martel has shown up. Miss Wanda starts going behind Mel, and she's like, well, Mel, I just want to tell you that you will find somebody for you. You are beautiful. And as she's in the middle of her sentence, Martel, a grown man, runs up on Miss Wanda. And I'm thinking to myself, have you lost your mind? How dare you run up on this grown lady? She's a woman. So, someone made a mention in my comments that you can't tell them that Martel has not hit a woman. And I don't like to put that kind of stuff on people because domestic violence is something that's very serious. But when I look at this scene and how you were running up on Miss Wanda, I don't know if you've hit her, but I'm sure you've shaken Mel before, allegedly. Because, the way that you were acting was insane. You are unraveling right before our eyes. You are losing your mind. Get yourself together. This is someone's mother. So Miss Wanda was holding her own, though. She was like, you don't run up on me. She was like, you acting like a real B. And then he says, you are a real B. I'm like, oh, honey, I thought one of Miss Wanda's little curls was going to fall down, honey, the way Martel was running up on her. I'm like, oh my gosh. She was like, you were talking about my kids on your live. You were talking. Martel, this is misplaced anger. You are mad because you thought you were going to be able to be in the same space with Mel for a little while. And she got up and decided to leave. And now you're angry and you didn't want to run after her. So now you're running after Miss Wanda. Stop it. Okay. So as he's out there acting a fool, running up on this lady, I want to reiterate that she's a woman. He's running up on her, saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And the whole time I'm thinking, where is Marceau and Maurice? Like, where are the men? So this one, I'm about to call him oh my goodness, I want to call him something so bad, but I know that it will be a violation, okay? But quite frankly, this person is running up on this grown woman and giving me real bitchness, okay? Y'all can decipher what I just got through saying. Diddy said it on Making the Band, honey. Trademarked. What you're doing is ridiculous. So as he's doing this, it's starting to get louder and louder, but you can't hear it because Tisha is over there talking about the event and over there getting mad at Kimmy because she didn't greet Miss Wanda like she thought she should. You let Miss Wanda show up uninvited, honey. She didn't invite her. We're in the middle of a pandemic. So there's only a certain amount of people that can come. And if this is for my son, I'm going to invite who I want. And I don't think Kimmy was being rude to Miss Wanda. She was just taken aback because her and Miss Wanda are not the best of friends. And you know that. So as she's trying to talk, okay, which is so hard for her, Miss Wanda starts to get louder and louder because she's being attacked, quite frankly, verbally by Martel. And I feel like he almost wanted to. She was like, what you gonna do? Hit me? What you gonna do? Hit me? And I was like, oh my gosh, please do not let this unfold like this on TV. So then after a while, Tisha decides to get up because she's like, that's my mom. She starts getting up, going towards her. And then Marceau got up behind her because I guess he assumed, you know what, let me just make sure everything's okay because I don't know what's going on, but I want to make sure my wife is protected. Good job, but y'all way too late, honey. The action's already almost over. So Destiny is pushing Martel back, telling him, don't do that. This is not what we're here for. You know better than that. And Martel's still going on like a little female. And I'm like, what, boy? Oh my goodness. Mel is running for dear life, honey. She almost to the freeway, honey. She's almost to the interstate. She already in her car. She's going to be on the I-10 by 10. Okay. She's ready to go. So as she's doing that, Miss Wanda is trying to go towards Mel, and she's like, I want to talk to Mel. And then by this time, here comes Tisha, and she's like, you are not Mel's mother. Leave her alone. Okay, Tisha, you got it right. Miss Wanda, stay out of that mess. Mel and Martel have a tumultuous situation going on, and you do not want to be involved in that. It is okay to say something to Mel, but honey, send her an Instagram direct message. Don't say anything to her in person, because if Martel is within earshot and the way he is acting, he is unstable. Okay, he is unstable, and whoever is producing this show in this moment, y'all need to make sure that y'all have all eyes on Martel when he is in a scene with anybody, because he is so on edge that everything that he does could result in someone getting hurt. And I'm just keeping it real. Honey, this was sad to watch. Then Marceau went out there. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Martel's yelling. Miss Wanda's running. Mel already in the car halfway to her house. This was a disgrace. Okay? Martel, you are pathetic. That's how I want to end this review. Martel, you are pathetic. Okay? All right. Well, if I had to rate this episode, I would rate it a 9. It was jam-packed and filled with all kinds of ups and downs, but at the same time, with all the foolishness between Mel and Martel, and other people are now being, victimized by Martel, we're going to have to do something about this, honey. We cannot let this carry on, especially with a female. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope that next episode is better and Martel is not chasing somebody, because every episode he's chasing behind somebody. Hopefully we can get a break. I hope you guys like this review. As I stated, I hope you will like, subscribe, and comment. Please do not hesitate to go into my social media and hang out with me on my Instagram and Twitter. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.